Well, see, and I actually got the original hat from my race.
Zoom. You're live on Zoom.
Okay.
Just take
All right.
We got another old fart in the room besides me.
Hey, Robert. Okay, guys. All right. We are live here. It is Sunday night here at the Alien Factory, and this is the Area 51 Alien Factory podcast, Sunday nights, 10 p.m. We beat the 10:10 mark that Robert always tells me I hit tonight. And so that's
by 3 minutes.
And we're off and running here with the podcast. And I want to welcome everybody that's here tonight. We got our regular cast of crew. We got the number one team driver, Robert Cook. We got Scooter Scotty Stevens, the Admiral Tracy Rumschlag. And we also have joining us tonight, our special guest, Ray Barcomb is with us tonight. And he's going to be hanging out, participating in the podcast with us tonight. Y'all get to know him. But I want to start out tonight and ask everybody how things are going, how their week went, what they've been into. I want to start going from left to right. The number one team driver here is the first one on my screen here, on my screen left to right, Mr. Robert Cook. What is going on? How has your week been, and what's been happening interesting with you?
Oh, you want to start there? I thought we weren't going to talk about this. No. It's the only thing I did was a league race, and you know how that went. Some of you guys might know how that went.
Everybody that knows you, who's been around you in Discord, knows exactly how that went because you did nothing but talk about it ever since Thursday night.
Yeah. Well, Mikey, he got the most X's on that race. He got 92, I believe, and we had a disqualification. Guy got disqualified for running in the back of Mikey and taking Mike Mikey protested long enough, and he got the guy suspended. And
that far.
Yeah, well, he made the race
the
control.
Stream is out there. You can watch and see for yourself.
He had the race control. He had race control looked at over a little more closely, and the guy claimed that he lost. He lost his monitors, right? And but those are the fastest recovery monitors I have ever seen. Go black and come back real quick. The guy's able to drive.
Yeah, and iRacing didn't crash or nothing.
No.
He was ready to go.
That was my last league race, I think, for a long time. I'm probably not going to do anymore. But other than that, it went pretty good.
Did you do any official races? Did you do any official races at Martinsville this week?
No, I have a few more brain cells left, and I decided not to be doing that.
Okay. Jeez. Is that it though? Now you gonna tell everybody about your obsession and the fuss you've been getting into with the guys over in the league all week?
Oh no, well, let me see how it started.
Wait for the book to come out.
Well, what happened was the guy who runs the league, he got involved with the wreck. And he was sideways. Everybody got straightened up, and he's moving along, and he's hollering, "How come that wasn't a yellow? How come that wasn't a yellow? Well, you're telling that should have been a yellow." And so race control, since the guy owns the league, race control bowed down to him and brought out a yellow. And so I didn't like that idea. He was able to pull a yellow out of his hat, and not everybody else can be able to do that. So I told him that bringing out the yellow, it was something like how would I say, he changed the outcome of the race, because now he's back. He would have been back in the back. Who would know who he would have hit, or who would have hit him? The winners might not have been the winners. The lineup might have been completely different. And that's what I was complaining about. And so I guess I'm not banned yet from them, but I'm still here.
That. And when you say that's what you were complaining about, that was pretty much nonstop. You didn't stop for like the last 3 days.
I kept it up. I kept it up for I don't know how many hours, and I had a lot of people chime in, and some people saw my view, and a lot of them didn't, and I'm out there. If you ever watched Mikey's stuff, I'm always. We started a thing about if you brought out a caution, it's EOL, and sometimes they don't announce it, and sometimes they don't give the guy an EOL, and so I'm wanting to see the EOL on the screen that I know that and everybody else would know that the guy got in the blind, and I guess they say that I'm causing problems, and And I don't understand that. I'm always calm and patient out there.
Well, yeah. So guys, for those of you who might know, Robert's learning all kind of new stuff in retirement. And one of the things he's learning is these newfangled terms and words like a troll or an internet troll.
Yeah. But
And,
I guess I used it wrong.
So Robert likes to complain. It's his favorite pastime in our league is to complain during the races and whatever. And so he kept complaining about not getting tires. I can't remember. We were at a couple places like I don't know.
Okay, we went to
we were at Bristol. Yeah, we were at Bristol.
Three sets of tires.
How many lap race was that, Robert?
230 laps, or at least.
Yeah, 230 laps or something at Bristol, or maybe more. And I think it's 250. It's 230, 250 laps at Bristol. We only got like 3 sets of tires. And Robert was complaining, being like the racing's bad enough. Now you're not gonna give these guys enough tires, and they're gonna go out there and wreck everybody because they don't have enough tires to get through the race.
Well, it's not that. It made you change your whole strategy. Now you have to, you got the caution comes out at what, lap 65 or something like that. So that's one set of tires.
So Evan, the guy that runs the league, he's hilarious. He pulled the perfect troll off on Robert. So Robert was all complaining. The very next race, we're at a super speedway, and he gives us like 15 sets of tires at the super speedway. And, and Robert just knew that he was doing it because of him. And so he called him out on it. He goes, real funny there, Evan. Real funny. Giving us 15 sets of tires at Talladega or wherever it was we're at. And Evan goes, I did it just for you, Robert. You're complaining about not getting enough. I died laughing. It was absolutely hilarious. And Robert was getting all huffy and puffy. I said, Robert, he was trolling you, man. Just laugh. It's hilarious. And he didn't know what he goes, what do you mean? He's telling me he lives under a bridge, And I'm like, no, dude. I was like, you got to learn what trolling is. I had to go Google internet troll and trolling and read him the definition for him to understand what it was. So then Robert starts complaining about this yellow flag that he just explained to everybody at Martinsville. And he's on the message board in the forum or on the Discord for like days. Every time they would say something,
it was 18 hours.
Yeah, every time they would say something and respond, Robert would say something back to get him going again, just harassing them. He goes, see, Mikey, I can troll him too. I'm a troll. That's a good troll, Liz. I said, no, Robert. I said, a troll was like an underhanded joke or like something you do, like just a one-off that's funny. I said, what you're doing is borderline harassment, dude. You're not trolling them.
I was making them mad. I was laughing the whole entire time with these comments. If I can make somebody, and I was laughing, I'm having a big joke out of it. They're getting upset. Well, isn't that trolling? They're the ones that are getting abused, not me.
No, trolling was you complaining about 3 sets of tires at Bristol, and the very next lead beat at Talladega, and he gives us 15 sets. That's trolling.
Well, I'd call the guy out for bringing the yellow out. Well, I got a lot of people out there responding to that, and it was pissing them off. But I was laughing. So if I was laughing, that's trolling.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to move on next down the line. Next down the line of our normal casted crew is the man who keeps everything focused and running here with us here at Area 51, and that is the Admiral. That's what we call him, the Admiral. He keeps us going, and that's Tracy Rumscheid. Admiral, how's it going?
Good. Drop your beer, grab your gear. The Admiral's here. It's been a fantastic week. I tell you what, there's been a lot going on racing and in my personal life. So first off, if you guys kept up, if you watched last week, you'll know that I got a promotion, or I was trying to get a promotion at work, and I did get it. I'm a head custodian now at the middle school that we have. So I start there at 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. So once the show's over, I'm not hanging around tonight. But
you keep us all going here at Area 51. Now you'll keep them all straight at work too.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know, just not enough going on in my life, I guess, don't need any idle time. So, but that was 3 days process trying to get that all taken care of. I was in bed sleeping, and they were trying to get a hold of me. And then the union president called me and said, hey, we need you at school. And it's like, okay, well, I don't want to go and have to come home and then go all the way back. So they made it so I could come in early. But they were big days, that's for sure. But I got the word Thursday, and that was kind of neat. I go in for the interview, and the assistant principal comes in, and she already congratulates me before we even got the job. So I thought that was kind of funny. So we did that, but last week, hanging out, I don't remember if it was like Monday or Tuesday or something back right when we went to Martinsville. I was hanging out with Nurse Bobby and Brandon Burkhart, friend of the channel. And so I'm going into like an ARCA room, and here Brandon thought I was registered for the race practicing, and I wasn't. So I ended up snagging him. He ended up going into having to race because he registered and I didn't. So he was dissing me all over the place. So then after that
You were
race,
trolling him. You were trolling him, right?
yeah, that's right. So after that, Nurse Bobby and Brandon, I'm practicing at Martinsville. So they thought I was just practicing, which really I was, because we had David Robertson on the show a few weeks ago, and he sparked my interest again about getting into setups and taking some time and going back what I already knew, but I just got tired of dealing with it. And so I had made a setup. So I transferred it over to Martinsville, and it was doing pretty good. And I thought, wow, this thing's kind of fast, And so I thought, well, maybe I'll run it just to shake it down. There wasn't tons of guys in the thing, and I just was going to go log laps, not really be competitive, just kind of hang out and just see what the set would do. Well, it turns out those guys are ragging me and they're spotting for me, and all of a sudden now I'm in the hunt, right? I'm up to the front, and this thing's chewing along, and so now I've got a chance to win this thing. So the first one, I restart first, and I believe it was only like 2 laps left, and I'm leading, and I haven't been in this position in forever. So Brandon's telling me, don't whiff the first corner, don't blow it, all this other stuff. And I'm thinking the same thing. And I just didn't want to go too slow, and then the guy just run through me and just wipe me out. I hate that. I'd rather race to the finish and finish second than get wiped out and finish last. Some of these guys just don't have any class. But so the guy that was behind me was on 4 fresh tires, and he had been the leader for a long time, but he's like, 5th, I think, at the time. So at the start, I go and I try to pussyfoot my way into one, and I didn't. I got off the brake too early and blew the center off. And the guy on 4 fresh tires goes right underneath me and right to the front. And it was like 1 lap to the end. And so I finished second there. So that was kind of cool, but that one was my fault. And then the next night we come on, and those guys are talking about my race. I thought, well, there's not a ton of guys. I'll race another one just to see if it was a fluke. And it wasn't a fluke. I got run over a couple times and beat up, but I was able to get my way to the front. And then on the restart, I was all over the leader, and I just was not going to take him out just to try to win. That's just not what I do. So
You're not
everybody,
gonna do it, Gibbs, huh?
yeah, I won't be racing for Gibbs anytime soon. But anyways, so I ended up finishing second, but some of the guys that were in there were high I rating guys, and they raced really clean. We may have rubbed a little bit, but nothing where we were taking each other out or giving each other wall shots, anything like that. But it was good time. Like I said, I had 2 races I've raced. I don't normally race. I'm usually start and park, even if I get in it. I just don't want to spend an hour and a half in the caution fest, because that's mostly what Martinsville was this week, was a caution fest. And segueing into something else, if you didn't watch the race today, go watch the highlights of the race. Ross Chastain just rewrote the record book on something he did at the end of the race. He did if anybody knows about wall riding and iRacing, that's exactly what he did to race his way into the final race, the championship. He's in the final 4. You should see what he does. He kicks it in high gear, floors it, and goes into hyperspace wall riding. And you should see how many cars he passes. I think he must have passed at least 10 cars. He runs in the back of Keselowski to move him a little bit, and he goes right past Denny Hamlin, who was on that cut, and he snaps him off. So Chastain goes in, Hamlin goes home. So anyhow, that's how things went for me this week. And
Was
week.
Was he 10th place and then finished 5th or better?
Yeah. He passed like a ton of cars. You got to see it in the highlights.
Yeah,
It's great.
The last time they had a problem with wall riding really bad in iRacing, if I remember right, was when the trucks were at Dirt Bristol last time. The C-class trucks, fixed and open. People were going up and wall riding. It was quicker to get around the track, tapping the wall. And then they were getting onto them for wall riding, protesting them, and they were winning the protest. So then they started, instead of wall riding, they would go up and they would, as they hit the apex of their turn, when I say apex, I mean the lowest part. I mean, when they would hit the highest part up closest to the wall, they would swing it around and tap the back of their truck 0x off the wall and then come down. They were doing it every lap, going up, tapping the back of the truck and then shooting it down. And people were complaining about that too. But that was the last time I remember actually being a bit of a fiasco, people getting protested for wall riding and iRacing, if I remember right.
About 6 years ago, wasn't it? I think
No, that was the last. No.
Back in the wait.
That was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was last year. The first time the trucks were dirt Bristol.
Yeah.
They were doing that at A cars or the B cars before that, and
Right.
And
I was
that's
talking about the last time it was a big to do.
Well, that's when they first started doing it, and people were getting 2Xs, and that's all they got out of it. And they just rode around the whole track and only got 2X out of the whole thing.
You could do New Hampshire like that too.
Yeah. So anyway, so good stuff, Tracy. That's awesome. You got back into set up building from scratch. You built yourself one, and you went out and you did really good in several of those races. And you said, "Hey, Mike, try this," and I tried it in like one official race in my league race, and it was a disaster. I mean, not your set, but the fact I got disqualified. I was out there in a B open. And I thought I was going to make it. I had like 22X, but it was good to go. It was like 10 laps to go, and it was green.
Yeah, sorry, Mike. I'm not responsible for operator error.
Yeah, and then with like 2 laps to go, there's a green-white caution. There was a caution and turned into a green-white checkered. And I was like, that's it. I'm done. I said, somebody's going to tap me. I'm going to get a 4X in this thing. And I did. I got a 4X on the last lap and got disqualified. And then I did our league race. And it was fine. The set drove good. I was starting to do decent in the league race. We had like 1 or 2 decent green flag runs. And I did pretty decent with it. But man, I just couldn't. Those X's are crazy in the Martinsville races. So anyway, let's go ahead, Trace. What do you say?
I was going to say, I also we had Gerbil. He was there with Nurse Bobby, and those guys they just couldn't come to terms of running the set. But I was hoping they would. They chose not to. But
well, you know, I'm a driver, not a builder. Just give me something that's decent, and I'll figure out a way to drive it. It's fast, you know.
Right. So
Ray, we're gonna get to Ray Barcomb, man. How was your
What
week?
about Scotty?
What about me?
Oh,
What
I
about
forgot about
Scotty?
Scotty. All right, well, I'll go to Ray then Scotty. I'm going from left to right. Ray's next. So hey, did you race any Martinsville? Like, how was your week? And if you did race any of it, God bless you. And how did it go?
Who are you talking to?
You, Ray.
Oh, I did the A Open. I want to say a couple nights ago, and ended up I was doing good all the way till about 3/4 of the way done. Somebody decides to go 3 wide using the green grass and on the inside of turn 1, try to plow me into the wall, the outside wall. But I ended up finishing with a damaged car. So I'm really surprised with the A car that I finished 6th. When I was back, I think I started about to the very back, and I ended up doing like a Ross Chastain, but I didn't wreck anybody. I just kept wheeling the crap out of the wheel. But overall, it was pretty decent. This week, last Thursday, I told everybody on iRacing I was going to have my back, talk to a surgeon about my back. The results came back that I am not going to have surgery for it now. I'm going to have an epidural every 3 months until they figure out something, because where it's located at, it's really dangerous. I can be paralyzed. So they're deciding not to do it. It's not affected my iRacing so far. I've actually can thank a lot of people that are around me. I'm in a good location to have the surgery if I needed to. But overall, my racing, I'm getting back into racing on iRacing. I'm doing more over at Buster's Corners, helping the community out that way and trying to give back to iRacing.
hey, Ray,
overall.
don't show your hand yet. We haven't even got
Okay.
into the interview yet. We need a couple minutes with Scotty because it's almost past his bedtime.
Oh, he needs he needs a nap.
Yeah.
We're all going to need a nap after this show.
well, and Scotty was chomping at the bit there a second ago. Robert's like, "Hey, you forgot Scotty." So
Well,
Scotty,
normally you introduce the team before you introduce the guests. I think
I
that's what me and
do.
Robert was thinking, and we thought you just forgot about me there, Mike.
Oh, believe me, Scotty.
I know you'd like to
forget
forget about
you.
me sometimes.
I ain't no way I'm forgetting about you.
And if you stay behind him when racing, he will never forget about
Yeah, Scotty, you know how he's gonna know if he wants to forget you? He's gonna change the password. So
Yeah,
you'll
yeah.
know.
So Scotty, we didn't pit at the same time this week, so that's good. What happened with you this week? You
I didn't race with you except the league race, I think.
Oh no. Yeah, and you managed to get me a couple times there.
Just once.
Just once. All right, just once.
It was a good one. I thought Scotty lost control coming out of the corner. He's going high, he's going low. I said, I think his controller. He drove like it was a controller, but but I think he got malfunction in his steering wheel. I could never see anybody up and down. Even like he had
Wrist glitch.
It only caused me like 10 or 12 seconds more damage, so it wasn't really that bad to me. But he scared the crap out of me. He was up, down. I was like, "Where's he gonna go?" And then bam, hit the side.
I tell you what, it was like my back end hit an oil slick is what it felt like. I couldn't get the back end to stay straight, and I was wheeling it left and wheeling it right, trying to keep it off the walls. And Robert's like, "Looks like Scotty's steering broke," and I'm like, "It felt like it broke. I had no control."
Yes, Scotty.
I mean, the car was just going back and forth down the back stretch. I think.
Yes,
it was.
Scotty. I racing can't get dynamic skies and the clouds right. They overshadow it, so they certainly aren't going to get dynamic oil on the track. So I don't buy that excuse.
No, it was a heavy foot, probably.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, I had a good race at Martinsville. I raced early in the week. I think I ran it was a 1 o'clock race or nooner race, but Robert and Mike didn't show up for it, and I showed up for it. And started out, I think, 7th, drove into 6th, and drove in 6th place for a long time. We only had a few cautions, and then I kind of lost it, and I fell back to 9th. I saved the car. I didn't hit the wall, but I come out of the turn and overpowered the back wind and got it around and managed to save it, keep it off the wall, get it back going. Drove back to 6th place, and then on the final, we had a green white checker, and on the final lap, I was running 6th, and 4th and 5th got into each other going into the turn, and I drove right past them and finished 4th in the race. And did that with my own set, and I felt pretty confident with it. It was a good set, good race. I had a great time at Martinsville. Unlike Mike, he didn't have such good luck in his race, but my race was great. And then I've been working on Phoenix. You think you get a good thing going, Tracy, and with the setup, and you get out there and you test it and you run all these 28s and you don't hit 29s till you get to lap 36. And I'm thinking, wow, man, this thing's super good tire wear and all that. And then you go and you see what everybody else is running, and it's time to go back to the drawing board.
I was gonna say now,
for Phoenix, I ain't there yet.
I was gonna say, if you're running 28 at Phoenix, you might want to just leave it on the truck right now.
Yeah, I might just leave it on the truck. That's right.
Oh, he's saying he's doing 28 after 30 laps. That's not too bad.
I was up to 28, so all the way to 30, lap 35.
All right. So I've got a story to tell. So a couple days ago, this is what I've been up to the last.
Hey, I wasn't done.
Oh, sorry, Scott. Just go right ahead.
I mean, I had to tell you about the rest of my week. Friday, I got to take care of my grandsons. That was a blast. We sit around and watch cartoons all day, and I didn't even get on the computer Friday. And then Saturday, I don't remember what I've done.
We did a practice. We did a practice race Saturday. I mean, a practice.
That's right. Me and Robert practiced, and he showed me that his set was way better than my set.
All right.
Yeah, I was trying to show him how to drive that.
Sure, it was a set,
and how to drive Phoenix the correct way. Robert was teaching me, and he had some good pointers, good advice. Robert does a good job of coaching me.
If you're getting pointers from Robert, we know we're in trouble.
Well, Robert's been a great help for my driving. He's really helped me a lot, to the point where I usually outrun him in a race and beat him by 1 or 2 positions now.
He's mad about that too. I forgot to tell you.
Well, I know he is. Yes,
Robert, he's starting to fight. He's trying to start a fight with you.
Is that a troll? Is that a troll?
Yeah. He's trying to start a fight with you. But as the leader of the podcast, I'm putting a stop to it, Robert. I'm not letting it happen.
Okay, I'm done.
Scotty, we appreciate it. All right. There we go. There's Scotty's update. I want to tell you about something crazy that happened to me. So I found out that a lot of the sim racing seats that you get with the rigs, are not really made of the stern. Yeah. You see Ray, he's giving a thumbs down the camera. You guys, I don't know if you can see it. I think I got it set where you only see the person talking, but Ray's in the camera giving a big thumbs down. And so I got last year, or was a year and a half ago, I bought one of the 80/20 rigs, the GT Omega Prime rig, which I still recommend the rig itself to this day. I think you can get it for just under $700, right about there. The full package, all the hardware, the bolts, everything, it all comes together as a package. But they used to offer a pretty decent discount when they first brought it out if you got the seat, but one of the seats bundled with it. And the seats are normally like, I think they're around $230 or more now by themselves, or something like that, $230, $240. But they offered the seats for like $160 add-on. So it was a pretty significant discount, like $80 or $90 discount on the seat. So I said, sure. And I just ordered it all as a bundle. Well, about a year and a half in, I found out the tubing inside, like the frame tubing in the bottom, is made out of real thin, hollow metalish type thing. I say metalish because it's not strong like a normal metal would be. And they snap.
You call that thin wall.
Yeah, thin wall. And those things will snap. And when they do, your seat is trash. And so between my kids abusing it and me getting in and out of it being heavy, a little bit heavy. Because I got the triple monitors, a little hard to get in and out. And so anyway, I get out of it I get out of it Tuesday night and go to bed after I raced a little bit of practice and stuff. I get in it on Wednesday and I lay back and it goes way back and like really far back. And I'm like, what? And I go down, I pull the lever to pull it back up, and I lean forward and let it go all the way back. And I'm like, okay, that's right. And it was all the way forward, which I never set it all the way forward. I always set it backwards. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Then I lean back again, and it goes all the way back. And I'm like, what is going on here? And so our buddy Brandon Burkhart and Aaron Jackson over at Fastlane, a couple of guys smartened me up to the fact that, oh man, your support beam broke. And how I figured it out was it was the right side. If I pulled on the left side, how the seats have like the supports for your hips that like come up like a V up out of it. Well, on one side, I'd pull the seat back and that one was stiff and would stay still. And on the other side, I would pull the seat back on the right side and it would come up. Like it would come up with the seat and like get back. And I'm like, oh man. And so anyways, to shorten the story, make a long story short, I was like, oh crap. And they told me, yeah, it snapped. It's happened to some of ours. They said these sim racing seats are expensive and they're just crap. They got these little thin wall tubing in there. I'm like, okay. So I start looking for a new seat. And that day I ordered one, and I ordered a Jegs. And it's a real car seat. It is made out of it was a replica of like a 2010 Dodge Charger package. And I was like, I'll take that. It's real car seats, probably made out of sturdier stuff. And so anyway, on Thursday, I didn't have it. I had to race our league race. And I just got my cockpit was kind of leaning forward. I yelled my wife. I said, hey, go get me some pillows. And she got a couple of pillows. And I was stuffing pillows back behind my back, down the bottom part, not behind me. I had 2 or 3 pillows stuffed back there trying to do the league race. And then I decided that that wasn't going to work out for me. If I was going to do any kind of race, I need to try to do something different in the meantime. So let me show you some pictures of my temporary solution. This is what my solution was before I got my chair. Let me share my screen.
You gotta use any zip ties or anything like that?
Yeah. Here you go.
Well, at least it don't roll back when you hit the brakes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's where you got your butt kicker mounted.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how'd that butt kicker work out on that?
It didn't. I just mounted it somewhere real quick to get out of the way. I'd take it off the chair that was mounted to.
How's it feel back there like that?
I took it off.
He said it vibrated his pedals, so he can't do that.
Yeah, it wasn't isolated, and the rear one was vibrating everything, including my pedals.
It shook the whole everything.
It shook my whole rig, including my monitors were rattling. Like it was bad. I just disconnected it, and in fact, right now it's shaking everything again. So I'm gonna have to do something when I get with my new chair. I ordered a extra piece of 2040 one of those metal or aluminum extrusion 2040 pieces. And I ordered one on Amazon, supposed to come in here in a week or so, that I'm going to run in between the 2 braces on my seat. And I think I can isolate it the same. I got some rubber some rubber washers, like real thick ones, rubber insulators to go in there where my seat mounts, try to isolate it. And if I can, then I'll hook it up that way. I think I can do it. As of right now, I'm not using my base shakers so I can isolate that base shaker to the seat because it shakes my whole rig. And I don't want my monitors shaking because you can see my monitors mount directly to the uprights on my rig. So it's base shakers shaking monitors and everything. And I don't want to do that right now. So I'm
Is
not
that
using.
your Area 51 shifter?
Yeah, so I was going to talk about that too. This is a big week for me as far as getting stuff in the mail that I've ordered. So,
Hello, Mike.
yeah, no, I was reading Martin Burke sent me a message talking about my chair, laughing at my folding chair set up there. I was just reading what Martin wrote. Yeah, Martin, I'm with you. Yeah, it's the start of something. Well, anyway, I didn't race any races. I just put that chair there in case I wanted to do something for a few minutes till I got my new chair in. Well, the new chair came on Saturday, and it was completely assembled. And from Jegs, and I really love it. It is a sturdy chair and way more comfortable than that GT Omega sim racing chair I had. Way more comfortable. I could sit in that thing and race a full 24-hour race.
You got a picture of that, don't you?
Huh?
You got a picture of that, don't you?
Yeah. So wait a minute. I'm skipping. Here we go. This is the Jegs chair that I ordered. Again, this is a real car chair. It's a replica of a Dodge Charger, some kind of racing sports package they sold the Dodge Chargers in. And this is what I ordered, is bottom mount, just like my other one was. And it's great. It came in all completely assembled, no assembly required, with the seat just fully reclined. So it was all flat in the package. Just pulled it right out, bolted onto my rig. The only problem I ran into was the seat was a couple inches or so higher than my previous seat. So it made my horizon off. It made my wheel too low. I ended up having to take all my monitors, all 3 monitors off the sim rig. I had to take my wheelbase off and then raise up the platform the wheelbase hooks up to, raise it up like an inch and a half. And then I had to raise my monitor mounts up a couple inches and reset up the whole thing. Took me forever. I spent 3 or 4 hours doing it yesterday, another hour or so today, but finally I've got it all set up. And that was the next picture I wanted to show you guys, is all of it all set up now. That's it. There's my brand new chair. I highly recommend that chair. In fact, if you guys are buying a rig right now, okay, if you're going right now and you're looking at a new sim rig, and you have the option of ordering one with or without a seat, because a lot of times these manufacturers like Track Racer and GT Omega does it a lot. They'll just bundle them together and give you a discount on your seat. And you're like, oh man, I'll just buy the seat with a discount. Don't do it. I'm telling you right now, don't do it. Buy the rig without the seat and then go to Jegs. And this is only $212 plus an extra $9 because it's a large item. They offer free shipping on anything over $100 or $150. But since this is such a large item, they charge you an extra $10 surcharge for it being such a large item to ship. So $212 plus the $10 surcharge on shipping plus tax, like $238. I was out the door, shipped to my house. And this seat is just way better quality. Not only is it more comfortable to sit in, it's made more sturdy. It don't move around, like the back is real sturdy. This thing is a seat you'll have for a long time. So if you're ordering a sim rig, and it's bottom mount with the sliders, so it should be able to go in just about any rig, especially 80/20 rigs. This thing will go on no problem. So I would definitely recommend this. And then Tracy, as you pointed out in this picture, you can see some boxes there where some of the parts came in. I've kind of just left the boxes laying. I haven't cleaned up yet. I just took a picture a second ago when Tracy was giving his update for the podcast for you guys. But as you can see right down there, I got a new shifter. So you see that alien head down there on that shifter. That is an SH8 shifter. I got it shipped in from Spain. You guys also might know, you also might have heard of this as the 3D printed shifter. Sorry if I was looking down. I was looking down at the picture. My webcam's up above my monitor. Let me kind of move this up here to where I can look at the picture and look in the webcam at the same time. It's the SH8 shifters. They're €99. And guys, right now, the dollar and the euro are worth the same amount. In fact, just the other day, I was showing this shifter to somebody, and the euro was actually like a fraction of a penny less than the dollar. So this is the cheapest you could ever get one of these shifters. They're €99, which is practically $99. They're H pattern shifters and sequential. I replaced my I replaced my Thrustmaster TH8A with this thing, and I absolutely love it. And I ordered a new aluminum, like $13 on Amazon. I got a new aluminum shifter head for it because the shell is 3D printed, and the shifter knob is 3D printed. They send you 2 of them for $13 on Amazon. I got this black one with the gear shift pattern on top of it printed on. And I absolutely love it. I got it mounted. It works great. I've used it in sequential mode. I've used it in H pattern. You can't beat it for the price. Just because the shell of it's 3D printed, don't let that fool you. It's got really great quality parts inside of it. And if you guys want to see a great teardown video of it, just check out Barry Rollins at the Sim Racing Garage. He did a review on this where he tore it completely apart and looked at the parts inside. Very high quality parts inside. Thanks, Martin. Appreciate it. I love my rig, man. It's awesome. I think I'm pretty much set now with everything that I want on it. I might add little things here and there, but
Yeah,
for my
LEDs.
core
Don't
rig-
forget the LEDs.
Yeah, I might add some LEDs maybe, but as of right now, the core rig though, then some little minor things I might add. Like I just added that cup holder right there right in front of the shifter. But so anyway, that's my rig. That's my setup. I need to clean it all up. It's still got the boxes laying on the floor. I just finished remounting the monitors and stuff today and turned a few laps in it earlier to make sure that everything was at the right height and the wheel was at the right height and everything for me. So yeah, highly recommend the shifters. And guess what? For $10, they will, if you send them your logo, they will custom engrave it right there in the shifter. And you can see our alien head custom engraved for an extra €10 or $10. They will engrave that right there in your shifter. So guys, that's what I've been up to. Not a whole lot of racing. That one open race this week and the one league race that were both horrible, but I have been doing for the last couple of days a lot of work on my sim rig, and I'm putting the finishing touches on getting it exactly how I want. So guys, there's the picture. That's the finished product. And the last part I'm going to do is remount that base shaker underneath the seat somehow and try to isolate the vibrations to only go to the seat. So
How many X's did you get on that the league race there, Mikey?
Robert, you already know. I got I think it's a world record. I got 92 X's in the 230 lap race at Martinsville in that league. And the first 84 of those X's, I only had 42 seconds of damage total for 84 X's because it was just bumping and banging around without any real damage to the car. And then a certain person, took me out there, like you said. And then yeah, I had a lot of damage then. So anyway, that is my week. And yeah, that's kind of how it's going. And so, yeah, I'm just really focused. I'm really happy with my rig. So anyway, yeah, man, appreciate it. I put a lot of effort into that rig, and yeah, I love the wheel too. It's that Fanatic leather wrapped one, and it's 33 centimeters, which 33, what is that, guys? 14 inches. Yeah, 33 centimeters is 14 inches. It's not the biggest wheel in the world, but it's pretty solid for oval racing. I like to race the MX-5s in it. So yeah, appreciate the compliments you guys give me about my rig. Definitely put some time and energy and effort into it, trying to make it just what I want it to be. And if you get an 80-20 rig or an 80-40 rig, whatever ones you get, mine's 80-40, so it's a little bit thicker. If you get one of those babies, it's the last rig you'll ever own. I mean, you can add to it. Pretty much anything you can get will add to those things. Yeah, I mean, you can add cup holders, you can add shifters, you can add monitor mounts, and it's pretty much plug and play. Anything with any of them will work.
I'm going to wait till Ken Byron gets rid of his.
Yeah, Ken Byron, he's got a spaceship for a rig.
Have you told him why you had to get a bigger steering wheel, Mikey?
I ordered a bigger steering wheel.
Why? Well, why you had to do it?
Okay, last thing, and then I'm going to turn it over to Tracy to start our first segment with Ray. But yeah, so I used to race in VR before I got the triples, and I don't know if you guys have anybody who's ever done VR. I do more than just racing in VR. I'll do I got a space flight sim I do in VR. I do Microsoft Flight Sim in VR. I do other games in VR, like Half-Life Alyx is like one of my favorite VR games. It's amazing. But anyway, when you're in VR and you got like a controller in your hand, or you got like the racing wheel and iRacing or whatever in your hand, you feel something there. And if the game tells you it's a gun, it kind of feels like a gun. Your brain kind of thinks it is, right? Kind of in a way. Well, when I'm setting in the NASCAR and iRacing, they have big wheels, right? And so I'm sitting in VR and my wheel's only 14 inches, but the wheel in the game in front of me, like the Xfinity card, maybe showing me a 15 or 16-inch wheel. Well, and I got my hands on it. I see the virtual hands on the wheel. It looks, and my brain thinks the wheel's bigger than what it really is. Yeah. And so my brain thinks that the wheel is bigger than what it really is. And it felt like I had a really big wheel, even though it was, 14 inches isn't super small. And so anyway, so I get out of VR and now I've got these triples. And instead of my brain seeing a 15 or 16-inch wheel, thinking that's what I have, now I'm staring at my 14-inch wheel, thinking it's not as big as what it was. Like, man, this thing don't feel as big as it used to feel when I was in VR. And so now I was like, well, I'm gonna think about getting a bigger wheel. So I found a nice leather wrapped rim that I don't like big deep dishes. Like I don't want like a 3-inch dish or anything on my rim, 3 or 4, because it is hard to reach your buttons and stuff. And I use it for like MX5 and different things and some road races. And I want to be able to get to my buttons. So I was looking for something that didn't have a super deep dish. And I found on Amazon a 15-inch, which is 38 centimeters, 15-inch leather, nice leather wrapped one that looks just like the Fanatic R330 that I have that one of the guys in the chat was telling us he had too. It looks just like it, but it's got a yellow stripe at the top instead of blue. But other than that, it looks a lot like it. And I ordered it off Amazon for like $60 or $70, and I'm going to throw that on my Fanatic Xbox button hub when it comes in, but it said take like 3 weeks to ship it to me. So here in a few weeks, I'll get it in, put it on and let you guys know. I'll take a picture of it and show it on the podcast, let you guys see what it looks like. But so I'm going to up the game to a 38 centimeter, 15-inch rim. And that's why, because I went from VR to triples and my brain's not faked into thinking that I have a bigger wheel than what I have. So yeah, that's the story on that. So that's me, man. I had a big week. I usually don't have that much of an update, but I had all kinds of stuff going on this week, Tracy.
Oh yeah, it sounds like everybody had a lot of good stuff going, but in all fairness, we got to get the Ray Barcomb. That's why he's here.
Yeah, Ray's been patiently waiting, listening to our stories, laughing a bit because we're a bit out there from time to time. So, guys, we're going to turn it over to the Admiral Tracy Rumstein, and he is going to talk to Ray here a bit and get some background. And this segment we're going to call is the man behind the wheel, because if you race A Open, you know who this man is. You have seen him out there in A Open for years, and that is Mr. Ray Barcomb.
Ray, welcome to the show. Appreciate having you come here.
Can you
you
hear
and
me?
I've known each other for a while. I know that. Just so you know, I want to take about 10 minutes here, and I want to just get into your, before you ever got into sim racing and I want to find out about you personally here. And then at the top of the hour, we're going to take a little break for Robert's favorite segment. And then in the second half, we're going to get into a little more depth in your background and stuff. So if you can, what I want to know,
Trace, I think we can go a little farther than top of the hour, maybe 11:10, 11:15 latest. And
okay,
then we'll do the wall of shame real quick and then hop into the last segment. So we can probably go a little longer because it's about 10 till right now.
Yeah, that works. That works.
Can you
great.
hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
All
Hey, so anyhow, Ray, what we want to know, what do you want people to know about you? I mean, where did you start? That's what I want to know myself. I mean, I've known you for a long time, but I don't know your history. You know what I mean? I know your iRacing history, but not you personally. Now, if I remember right, you did some racing, but where did you start racing? How did you get into sim racing? That kind of stuff. Let's start
Where
out with
did your
the early
passion
years.
for racing come from?
Yeah.
Where'd your passion come from for racing too?
Well, the passion of racing came from my father, Barefoot McCready, Donnie Ackner, CD Colville, the dirt side. I started my racing career really short. It didn't last very long. I was in the test session. I didn't even get to really get on the track until after I had that wreck, and it was a major wreck. Ended my career. Well, I couldn't be behind the wheel. But the biggest thing is I moved to Southwest Missouri, got to know the late Larry Phillips and worked around him, got to work for a guy called Roy Chisholm. Mr. Chisholm was he was like a brother to me. He got me involved in racing there. I ended up owning a super late model back in 98 through 99. I had one chassis that was actually a Larry Phillips chassis. And it was
now, Ray, let me ask you a quick question. back, how old were you back then?
When I started
were you
owning
just-
the team,
Yeah, I mean, when you first started racing, how old were you back then?
I was about, I would say about 25. I didn't start really into it. I really wanted to get into it, but having that accident really prevented it. But I had the skills to have somebody trust me enough to put me in the car that they did. And
Okay. And
and
how old are you now?
I'm 53 years old now,
53. Okay. Okay. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
but I ended up with 8 concussions.
Now, is it over the course of how long was your 8 concussions?
Through wrestling in high school, football, racing, normal things.
Okay. So not all in one year.
No,
Okay. I
no.
got you. I got you. All right.
In all that time I've been on Earth, but basically the biggest thing that came out of it is when I went to Southwest Missouri and started. And I didn't believe I was going to be able to own a race team. I didn't expect to own a race team. I turn around. I didn't even know I owned the team until after I filed bankruptcy, owning $500,000, and had to make the money come from somewheres to put me back in the good graces of the sponsors and stuff. And I ended up putting some guys in the race car at several different times. There's been a lot of people that did help me throughout that career. Timmy Swearinger was one of my best friends. He was a best friend. His dad and mom were really special to me. Terry Phillips meant the world to me because I knew what Terry went, they're both, both Larry Phillips and Terry are both in the Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame and also into, they're both late model hall, the Dirt Late Model Hall of Fame and the Missouri Hall of Fame. They're both recognized.
Now, these guys helped you in your racing?
Not so much, but Larry, getting to know the Larry Phillips that most people do, Larry gave me the best advice. I used to be a real shy person. I wouldn't say anything. I wouldn't open my mouth. I let people walk over top of me. And he always told me to basically speak up. Don't let anybody push you around. And then when I got involved around that, and I stayed in racing until I found out that the guy, one of the guys I was around, I found a lot of secrets that were going on, and I basically walked away from racing I want to say 99. I walked away from racing and never looked back. And I've had people ask me, would I ever do it again? Not at this time with the finances of owning a team. But as far as the iRacing world, I started iRacing. I got involved. I just
Now, was it
Googled.
iRacing or was it sim racing? Like, did you get into the papyrus stuff, NASCAR 1999, 2003, whatever it was? Did you get into that part of it before iRacing?
No, I started off the ground right as a start of, I think I told you what,
2009, which makes you one of the
2009.
founding members, right?
Correct.
That's a small group of people that's, you're talking Dale Jr. and I don't remember some of the other names, but I know
Me.
yeah, Robert
There you
part of
go.
that, but-
Number one. That's why he's number one team driver. He started in the first year. He's a founding member.
right. And
But he
you've seen a
can't
lot of
see.
the changes that went through iRacing too, but you've been around some of the key people in iRacing as well, which is a fascinating story in itself. So kind of lead into that. I'm curious. Okay. So first off, how did you find out about iRacing? And once you got going, what was your journey there?
When I found iRacing on a website and I was just Googling, I was like, oh, I'm going to try this out. I bought a Momo wheel with a cheap setup. It didn't even whatever it had. It was really cheap.
I had a Momo wheel. That was a good wheel.
It was. And the one thing about it, you see all the wheels that I've had, the money I spent, it's a ridiculous amount of money. But over the time, I met Tyler Jiske and Joe Marks. That's the one thing people don't realize. Me and Joe Marks goes way back to Frankenstein. And I praise Joe Marks for everything that he's done I did not expect to be in the same tier as Joe Marks, Max Harris, the late Max Harris. I got to know them guys over the years. I got to meet a lot of good guys. Dale Jr., TJ Majors, people from iRacing. There was back in the days, there was a lot of people from the iRacing world would actually come in and actually talk to you, ask you what you thought about the sim, how it performs. I remember when the graphic card was only a 210 graphic card. Now it's 3,000s. But learning all the things I did, I learned how to basically race. I didn't fast track. Back when they did it was a 4 point, you had to have a 3 point, I want to say 3.5 and above to advance your license. And it had to be week 13. And if you didn't have that above that I rating, your license above that, you didn't advance until the next week 13. And
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know it took some time. Took some time for me to get my license too. Probably a year and a half or so.
yeah, correct. And having that, I didn't get my license until the Christmas Day. That's how long. It was almost 5 months. But when I got it, I've held my license from 2009 until now. I've only lost my A license twice. That's another thing I looked at being really good. Tyler Jiski. A lot of these guys that were really good drivers, I learned from Tyler Hudson, Jerry Nadeau, Doug Hevron, the late Doug Hevron's dad, Tom, Dale Jr., TJ Majors. A lot of guys were really, really good. I mean, you were talking the best of the best that were on the sim at that time that would give all the effort they could to, if you can beat an Eric McClure or somebody, a professional driver at their skill level, that said a lot.
Now, were you on a team when you got first started out? Were you able to get on a team, or how did that go?
Oh, I ended up with Dale Yance, Eric McClure, Ken Kepler, Stan. There were several guys on that team, but it was not really a team. It was on a team speak, and we're all hanging out. I got to know all of them really well.
Now,
And
Eric McClure, is that from Morgan McClure Racing?
that was Jerry McClure's son that passed away. That was my best friend.
Okay. Was he part of the NASCAR team is what my question is.
No, he was part of the Tri-City. There was a bunch of teams that Hefty went with him in the Nationwide Series or the Affilliate Series. He was part of that. He stayed in the Nationwide Series. What I understand, he could, they were working on getting him back into the car. He was starting, but when he had the kidney problems, that's when he had dialysis and stuff after the Talladega wreck. That's
Okay.
where basically his racing career ended.
And if I remember right, you've got some time with the late David Cater too. If anybody remembers David Cater, he was a big part of iRacing a few years ago, like 5-6 years ago. He was kind of like the godfather of iRacing, if I remember right. And I believe you had some time with him too.
Yeah, with David Cater, I got to know him outside the iRacing world, not physically, but getting a chat with him on Facebook, asking him questions and stuff. And he helped me a lot. He really helped me out learning the car on a sim, different than the real world. But I learned a lot from how to set the setups up the proper way, learning a lot of things, doing the things that he always had to tell me, do one click, go back. If he did a setup the proper way, do one click. If it worked, keep it. If it didn't work, go back to the original. He always had that way of telling me, stay focused on, he always told me to stay focused on the big picture of getting this set up, the B balance overall, get it to react the proper way into the corners and stuff. And he was not really so far he's kind of mentoring me how to build the setup on the sim the proper way.
Right. Now, for those watching, because the chat's lit up tonight, Ray, and they're enjoying their content tonight. But if anybody's interested, if you go onto YouTube, you can find videos with David Cater that are still there. And those are the same ones we watched back in like 2016, 2017. And a lot of the information that he still gives applies to today in terms of the setup. So if anybody's interested in him, he was very good at what he did. And he had a very good way with people and make him understand. So if you guys want to look that up, look up for David Cater. So fortunately, Ray, you've had some time with him. I only got to talk to him a couple times before his passing, but I did enjoy my time, and I thought the man did know a lot. That's for sure. So from Ray, and you're racing now, where does that lead you?
Right now, the goal is that leave the legacy like David did, helping the community out. And it's not about iRating for me. It's personal because of David, Eric McClure, several people that is no longer here. I want to leave a legacy behind that I can help the younger generation drivers to have that old style race car mental ability,
That racecraft.
the racecraft, the sim can bring you, how can I say, you can learn. It's not so much the garage part. It's hitting your marks, repetition, going into the corner, being real smooth, coming off, coming on, understanding what the car is going to be doing. Why, you don't have the seat of the pants feeling that like a real race car does. You do it, you feel it with your hands and your eyes and stuff. And there's a lot of things that most people can learn from doing that. And I always tell people practice makes you better. And that's where most of these laps that I've turned is because of that. And the biggest thing that I could tell anybody is don't look at your iRating. Don't look at where your license at and all that. Because most people, they focus so much on their iRating that they get overwhelmed. Sometimes when you get overwhelmed, you tend to make mistakes. And I've done that myself. I've done that not just once. I've heard people say, "Oh, why don't you have a 3,500, 4,000, 9,000 iRating?" It's because with me, with the concussions, I'm lucky I am actually in the 8 car for one, and concentrating on setups, how to do certain things. My wife will even agree. I'm more of a sponge when it comes to racing. I always put a challenge in front of myself when I'm on the sim.
Okay. Now, and that kind of segues into my next question, but I don't want to tip my hand too much, but we do know that iRacing honored you for an achievement on iRacing. We're going to get into that in the second half. So I'm going to kind of avoid that.
Fans, Tracy. He's got some fans out there. We got all kind of guys in here. Guys, they say they know him. They're sitting here watching. We got David Long giving Ray a shout out. Says he races with him, knows him, and he's here watching him tonight, listening to his story. Another guy, Martin Burke. He spells his name Bourkue. Says he's Ray's top 2 helped him with setups. Says he says he knows him as something about the hillbilly set.
Yeah.
And he's here watching Ray, giving you some love and a shout out here. And then we have our B Open championship points leader, Cody Trelindi. He's here and he's saying, "Preach, brother, preach. iRating means nothing." So you got a lot of fans here hanging out here in the chat and listening to you, Ray. So, we really appreciate coming on. And there's a lot of guys that wanted to meet you is just and see you with the webcam face to face. And that's the thing why we like to have people on is you always see a name and you see a paint job on a car and you see a name and every once in a while you hear a voice on the radio, but you really don't get to meet and see somebody face to face, see what they look like and that kind of stuff. And so that's one of the reasons why we like having this podcast and inviting drivers on, and you get to see the man behind the wheel and actually get to meet someone and see what they look like and that kind of stuff. So we got a lot of people tuning in. They wanted to see you tonight and get to know you a bit.
Thank you. I really appreciate it because there's a lot of things people don't realize that the community over the years, there's been a lot of people that I have helped And when it comes, this guy that's talking about hillbilly setups, me and David Cater done it years ago. We used to take the front end, make it stiffer on the right side, and we would actually do something weird to the setup where the one side would be higher than the other side, and we would hillbilly it. I've done things to setups that most people wouldn't do. And Tracy could tell you, he's drove my sets. They're different. They're the unique setup that most people don't have.
Well, that's
we
good. That's
also
because
got
you had
our
all the inside
international-
information, Ray. You were
Yeah.
all with all the cool kids, you
You
know?
got all those exploits, right?
Yeah, I
Well-
was on the outside looking in, man. I was just a baby then.
Well, hey Ray, we've also got our international audience with us. We got the iRacing Aussie here, who's here from Australia. Tunes in all the time, watched every podcast, and he said he was looking forward to this one. So yeah, we got an international crowd out there here to tune in to hear you tonight, Ray.
See, one thing about it, you talk about European teams. I was part of, back in the days, there was Apex Academy. I was part of their oval side.
Were you with Doug Pickering at the time?
Correct.
Okay.
I was with
Mike knows Doug Pickering.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I love Doug. He took me under his wing and helped me a bit when I my first year or so on iRacing, and I love Doug, man. He helped me a lot.
And the one thing about it, what's really cool is I had all the best setups from all the Apex. I've worked with Christian, that's in the Coke series. I had Tyler Hudson.
Christian Challoner.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's a cool kid too.
And he would stay up. Alex Bozerall. He's he was part of the dirt side. He's work open wheel USAC midget cars in real life. There's been a lot of people that I was around at that time in the Apex deal that I wish they would have never ever closed it. And Doug will agree with me on this. I actually loved talking to the European guys about everything. I mean, their life over there, how they raced, how they did different things. And it was really cool. I mean, it was really, really cool to try to learn a language and try to communicate with the European people and verbally. It was kind of difficult, but after a while I started getting to understanding their lingual, what
It would have probably been easier if you tried English, because I know I never had a problem.
But I did learn a lot about the road course side. And thanks to Jerry Nadeau, I do give Jerry a lot of credit, because Jerry Nadeau taught me a lot about my craft on iRacing. And if anybody's never know who Jerry Nadeau is,
They're too young.
he was
yeah, exactly.
and he ran, if I remember, if I'm right, Robert, I think he ran he ran European, he ran the Skippy in European, if I remember. And
he was a road kid. I remember that.
Yeah, he drove for Richard Petty. He lost a race because of I guess the transmission broke, something like that. And he almost won, out there in Sears Point. I always call it Sears Point for some reason. That's what it was called. But a lot of
I still call it Sears Point.
And I always want to tell iRacing to build a track. And I said, the biggest track I would love, and I wish iRacing would do it, is go and scan. If anybody's from New England and from Vermont, there's a road called Thunder Road in Barry, Vermont. Back in the days, if you go and talk to Dave Moody on Sirius Radio, Dave Moody used to be a broadcaster up there. Dave Moody this track had light bulbs running across the racetrack. It was really unique. It was Ken Squire and Tom Curley's baby, and they basically called the ACT, American Canadian Tour. I got to watch Junior Handling, CD Colville, a bunch of drivers over my lifetime. The people I have met, great people. And did I go to dinner with them? No, but I got to know them, got to know who they are, especially David. We had Dave Moody. He's really a down earth. He left his Coors beer.
That's great, Ray. That's a good story. Mike, this would probably be a good time to segue into our other segment, and then we'll pick up with Ray here in the second half. Give him a little break here.
Absolutely. This is Robert Cook, number one team driver's favorite segment. So, Robert, why don't you go ahead and kick us off and introduce what the segment is?
Okay, it's time for the wall of shame. Halloween's
Scotty?
coming up. Halloween's coming up.
Yeah, there you go. Scotty, you gonna be on the wall of shame this week or no?
I don't think I'm going to be on there. No, I don't.
If
I don't
it was
think
a league
so.
race, if it was a league race, Mikey'd be on top.
I got 92 X's and 230 laps. That's a record. But here's the thing: when nobody in the when points don't count against you, you know the only thing in that league now that counts against you is an EOL if you're the one that causes the wreck. So in just an incident points.
Thank you for
Yeah, Robert made that happen, but and push for that. But when sheer incident points alone don't count against you, I mean, guys will bump and bang, especially a short track that's real slow like Martinsville. You know, they'll bump and bang around, and who cares how many X's you get, I guess. And man, there was a lot of that going on. That's how I got 92. I held the record in the league. But you know what, Robert? I never got a single EOL in the whole race. I never caused a caution, and I was only actually involved in one where I actually got a bit wrecked, like I got spun, except for the one where I got taken out. Well, then obviously I was involved in that one. But before that, I said I was only part of the caution, which I didn't cause. The other person got underneath me and bumped me up out of the way and made me spin. But
You had one. You had one. You had one yellow. Brought out one.
I self spun, I think, once. Yeah.
Yes, when I let you go. Here, Mikey,
Yeah,
you can take it.
Going into the turn. Anyway.
Never again. Let him do that. Never again.
Okay. Sounds good to me. Anyway, let me share my screen here. We'll pop right into the wall of shame and get this segment going. This is where Cody turns in every week because we do the good part of the segment first, and Cody's always the leader of the good part. So he always makes sure he tunes in to hear his own name. Anyway, that's Cody Trelindi, just giving him a hard time out there. So guys, here we go. We're headed into the final week here at Phoenix, and it looks like here at Xfinity Open, Cody Trelindi has this thing pretty much locked up. I mean, he's 469 ahead.
I heard rumors he's not going to race the last one. He's just not going to show up.
He could probably not show up and still have that all locked up. And so anytime I tell the gap, a lot of times I'll get messages from Cody and Ken, and Cody's got like the drop weeks figured out and like, you know, all this stuff. And they'll tell me, "Oh, Mike, you're wrong on points because if you figure in the 5 drop weeks, blah, blah, blah." And I'm like, listen, guys, I'm just reading on what's on the stat sheet, you know. I'm not so into it that I have all the drop weeks pre-calculated like you.
But
guys
he's
do.
up there with incidents, 234. That's pretty good. 200. That's not not too shabby. That's not too shabby.
Yeah, with the 102 starts, that's like 2.3 incidents.
Well,
a race.
that's like
really
Steven
good.
Adegaard down there with 619. Yeah.
Well, anyway, Cody is your championship points leader. Let's see if anybody
Eric Schaefer's
actually
got
eked out some
1,000.
good. Let's see if anybody eked out some good championship points this week in this week's race, because man, that high strength of field race wasn't very high. I mean, it was a pretty low.
Oh, that
SOF.
was
Oh,
terrible.
That was a
It
mess,
was-
man. That was a
was
caution
bad.
fest and a half.
Yeah, and so I think Casey Tucker was the one who won that race. Yeah, he was. He was
Yeah.
the winner. I don't think there was any other strength of field that was even close to the Monday night SOF race. And so Casey was able to pull out 264 championship points this week.
With only a 4X. With only a 4X.
I know, that's wild. Cody had 20 incident points in that race. And Brandon.
He had
both.
140 laps led too.
Yeah, and he had 215 championship points this week. So, yeah, so the points for this week wasn't quite as high, but Cody, I think, has this championship locked up. And Cody, if you're available next Sunday, maybe we can have you back to talk about your championship point win there for the season, assuming that's what happens. But like I said, I think you could not show up.
And see if iRacing and show us iRacing's trophy that they're going to give you.
Well,
Yeah,
he said with 141 points, he's going to be the highest points winner in the B Open history. So yeah, we kind of like to have that on the show.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think this season is literally the most points there's ever been in a season in Be Open and iRacing ever, as far as the championship points accumulated by one driver. So, Cody, you may have a few. You may have a few
That's pretty
records
awesome.
here. Yeah. So anyway, let's look now. It's time, Robert. It's time to sort by incidents. We'll start with Division 1 drivers, then we'll move to all divisions here. And the wall of shame. Here we go. Here, this is grouped by incident points, and there's me. It's with 26, and I got them all in one race.
Yeah. I think you're it. I think you're it.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think you're it.
Yeah, well, it just shows I was
I didn't-
smart enough to know when to quit. I didn't
think
go
we
out
was
and test-
doing incident points for just one race.
No,
Well, hey,
Mikey
here you go.
knew this was coming, so he decided.
No,
this
I'm
wasn't it.
not it. Doug
You know, I
Bell
don't
has
see me on
28
there anywhere.
Doug Bell has 28 incidents in one race.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, 28 in one race.
But we got 24 from Ronnie Joyner in 2 races.
Yeah, but I'm pretty.
Well, Doug helped train you, right? So that explains it.
There you go. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure, Doug, thank you so much. If you're out there, you saved me from being the Wall of Shame winner for Division 1 this week. I don't think we're going to beat this 20 because 24 you get disqualified. So maybe he had or above 24. So he must have had 24 even.
27,
Got
I believe,
he
isn't
got
it?
another
27?
4X to get
I think it's
28.
27.
That's the only way you can get 28. Cody says he wrecked Doug Bell once this week in that race. Anyway.
Well, you thank Cody for that, for getting you off.
Yeah,
the
well,
hook.
Cody, did you give him the final 4Xs that got him disqualified, or or you just a contributor to his 28, or were you the final blow? Anyway, I think, I don't think there's going to be anybody that's going to top this. Doug Bell, and that's the most. In fact, that's Robert. That's the maximum possible points you can have in a Be Open race, because when you get 24, then that's your limit. And if you-
27, ain't it? I thought it was 27. Or the
No,
difference
it's
for Martinsville.
24. It's 24. And then if you just get
Are
a
you
1X
sure?
off, if you got a 24X and you get like a 1X off track, then you're disqualified. Anything above 24.
Oh, okay. I got you. I was thinking when you
So he
disqualified
had
it.
the limit. He
Disqualified
had-
it. Disqualified
Yeah.
is 27.
Yeah, he had the limit. No, drive through penalty 17, and then disqualified is 24.
Right.
More than 24. So he was set.
Well,
with
I guess some
24 and
tracks
got
must
hit
be
again with
different.
another 4X. So there's your winner this week of the Wall of Shame for Division 1. Doug Bell had 28 incident points, which is the theoretical maximum for a Be Open race in one race. And he was like me. I'll go give it to Doug. He was smart enough to know when to fold him. He's like, that's it. If Martinsville's going to be like this, it ain't for me. And I came to the.
Were you
is the
grunting
ru-
for
is the
pain?
ru- Huh?
Were you grunting for pain or something?
Yeah. Well, like I'm like Doug, man. If Martinsville's gonna be like this, it ain't for me. So I did my one and done and said, that's it, Ray. I was like, I'm done. So we got to give it to Doug. He was smart enough to say he's done after
Now,
one.
we
He
got to
wasn't coming
put a
back for more.
disclaimer in there. Just because you got this many X does not really reflect what kind of driver you are.
That's right, because because Cody just admitted he contributed. In fact, Cody said he was the one that hit him that gave him the DQ. So Cody claims that he caused that one with him. He got into Doug. So yeah, it doesn't mean you caused them all. It just means you either caused them all or you were a really, really big punching bag target. And in Martinsville, that's probably what it was.
He did a Ruster Stain move. He just went around him.
So here we go. All right, let's get into all divisions now. We'll open this up to all divisions, not just Division 1. But here's the thing. I don't think we're going to eliminate Doug since he's already won Division 1. We're going to eliminate him because there's no possible way you could average more than 28X because that's the maximum for one race. So Doug's eliminated, and me too, since I got the runner up. So let's see what it looks like here for all divisions. All right, all divisions.
Woo.
The maximum was 146 this
56.
week.
Ooh.
15
6
starts.
races, 102.
6. Oh yeah, there you go. I don't know who's going to beat that. 102.
How many is that per race?
That's 17 per race for averaging over 6 starts. That's pretty high.
Okay, we got a guy with 48 in 4 races. That's 22
gonna get
race,
close.
ain't it?
That's like 10 point. That's
Or
like
12.
11.
11.
Yeah, this 17. That's gonna be hard.
Okay,
to
the
beat.
guy's in Division 9. He's just starting out. He doesn't know when to quit. He's
He's
just
a,
out there
he's a
having fun.
rookie.
Yeah.
He's
Okay.
a rookie.
Yeah. So here we go. So that's Wade Brooks. I don't know. I think I'll race with
What
Wade.
about Ford 73?
That's gonna be close. Let me see.
Maurice Burnett,
3,
Burnett, number 7.
4. Oh, that's 18.25 per race.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a good spot, Scotty. Which one?
Thanks.
Which
He's number 7.
number
Maurice
7?
Burnett.
Yeah, Maurice Burnett.
Oh, he's a Division 3 driver.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So Maurice, here we go. I got some special advice for you this week, okay? Because like we said,
Practice.
this doesn't mean that you
Stay off of
caused all the
Martinsville.
races. It doesn't mean you caused all the incidents or nothing. If Maurice, if you want to come on the show and you're watching and you want to come in and talk about this week at Martinsville, 4 races, averaging 18.25 incidents per race for 73 incidents. That's a rough week, dude. If you want to come in, talk about it, just hit one of us up on iRacing, send us a message on iRacing.
Not literally hit us though.
Yeah, don't hit us with this.
Don't give us no X's. Don't give us no X's.
But yeah, you can look me up. I'm Mike Howerton on iRacing. That's HOWERTON on iRacing. And I was just on the last page there. You saw my name flash up. And or Tracy, Rumschlag, Scott Stevens, Robert Cook, hit any of us up, and we'll get you set up. You come on.
If you talk to me, I had to get Mike to email you because that's beyond my capacity.
So anyway, here's the thing though. Normally our advice is like practice, you're set, blah, 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 blah. Okay. That's not my advice for Martinsville. Here's my advice for Martinsville.
Don't do it.
Yeah, dude, don't do it. Just stop. Just don't go. Just like whenever you're like your mouse has hovered over the register button and like you're thinking about it in your head about just stop. Like just don't register. Like fight the impulse. Like fight the addiction. Just don't race it.
Well, I don't know. Maybe if you go in there like Tracy did with only 8 people, probably it'd be all right.
Well, yeah, that's true. I raced a full field in that thing. It was horrible. It was a demolition derby. The other thing is, if you race it once and you get like 20 some X or something, like just fold them. Just be like, I've got a losing hand this week. This racetrack is horrible. Nobody's had to drive it, and just fold them. And then the last thing is, once you race a second race and you get the same result, then for heaven's sakes, don't do it a third time. But brother, you did it a 4th time. So I'm just saying, my advice this week is just don't.
He was grunting for pain.
Yeah.
Well, we got Phoenix next week, and that should be, it can be a caution fest, but that's going to be a pretty good race, I think.
I'll come over and play with you guys.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So anyway, that's our official Area 51 advice for our Wall of Shame incident leaders this week in Martinsville is just don't. When we got to Division 1, those guys usually know what they're doing. You saw me and Doug with our big X numbers there, and we just did one race and we're like, we're done. That's my advice to everybody. Once it happens once at Martinsville, just done. So guys, that's the Wall of that's the Martin just keeps saying, be patient. He likes Martinsville. Brother, you may be one of the only ones in iRacing that likes Martinsville. I don't know. In real life, it's not that bad, but in iRacing, I'm sure there's.
Oh, you didn't watch the race today, did you?
No,
or yesterday. That was a good one.
Are you serious? You didn't. You must not seen the races. Yeah.
And that's not what I mean.
There was not a car clean in the Xfinity race, I don't think. I think every car had damage.
That's not what I mean, Scotty. I mean, like, it may be good for spectating. Like I was saying, like, I understand why somebody might like to watch Martinsville, like on a real life race. Like, I understand that, or like going to watch it and buying a ticket and going to see it live. But what I'm saying is, as far as iRacing goes, being a driver, having to pace all those laps and getting wrecked all the time, it's no fun to me. It's definitely not in my top list. I
would have to drive it drunk.
Yeah, it's in my top. It's in my top list of tracks I like to avoid.
That way, if you're drunk, you can forget about it. Maybe.
I got a question for you guys. Have you ever ran Bristol and not have any incidents and finished second?
No.
I have.
Yeah, I think I have.
No, there's no way I could have done Bristol.
Yeah, and
I was in the 8 car. That was in the Gen 6 car.
The first year, like late in my first year on iRacing, The first time we were at Bristol, David Lamb helped me a lot. I was in a good set and I won like 10 races that week. And some of the morning races, like the noon race or whatever, I'd get in there like 10 or 12 people and I'd win the race with a 0x. So I've done that before, but it's rough, man. If you get more than 20 people in those Bristol races, good luck. Even if you're fast, like good luck.
People move you out of the way, huh, Mikey?
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I think I got a nephew that did that for me.
Clean me out, man. He left nothing.
Here, Robert, I'll take care of it for you. Thank you, Jerry.
Well, I want to get into the final segment of the podcast with you, and I want to title this segment of the podcast "A Million Laps." All right, that's what we're having you on for tonight. And the reason we're having you here, we like to get a lot of drivers on. So I mean, having you as a driver, being in the A Open for so long and being a common figure there, that's reason enough. But then when we saw this I had this sent to me by a couple people. Bob Hogue over at Buster's Corner sent this to me, and Ricky Thompson from StintAnalyzer.com. And Trace, what is it that StintAnalyzer.com sponsors for us?
Oh, Stint Analyzer. Yeah. Hard Charger Award.
Yes.
So-
StintAnalyzer.com Hard Charger Award.
Yeah.
But Ricky Thompson from Stint Analyzer, he sent me this as well and said, hey, you got to get a hold of one of these guys. And then Bob suggested you, Ray. And
Well, Mike, I think this definitely qualifies as a Stint Analyzer Hard Charger Award for Ray for sure.
Yeah, he's an honorary permanent member of the StintAnalyzer.com Hard Charger Award winners. I want to share my screen and just show you guys something here as we break into this segment. And that is what those guys had sent me, something that iRacing had published. And iRacing published it is like overall for like all members, I think. So basically iRacing put out this thing that said 1 billion laps, or not 1 billion, sorry, 5 billion laps turned by all members in iRacing. So not these people on here specifically turned 5 billion laps, but the fact that iRacing has had 5 billion laps turned by members. And so they gave us the top three drivers in all 4 disciplines on iRacing and the amount of laps they've turned. And obviously, oval laps are a lot quicker than say road racing. And then we race a lot more laps per race than say the dirt guys do. So that's the reason the oval racers are at the top of the board here. And there's 3 of them. Joey Marks has turned 1,154,677. Ray Barcomb, who's here with us tonight, has turned just under 1 million laps.
I've already turned over it right now.
So you've broken through. Okay, so
Yes.
Ray's giving us an update. He has now broken through that 1 million lap barrier and threshold. At the time they clipped this and published this, he had turned 959,949. But he just gave you the news right now. He is now in the 1 million lap club. And there's only 2 members. So he's one of 2 guys now that is in the 1 million lap club. And that 2-member strong club is Joey Marks and Ray Barcomb, who's with us tonight.
If I ain't there yet, I'm getting closer because I turn a lot of laps in practice.
There you go.
He
then
might
we got
not race
Max
much,
Harris.
but he's in that practice room a lot.
And then if I remember right, Ray, then isn't that the late Max Harris there that you were talking about earlier?
No,
Yeah.
that's not. I remember Max Harris. He's a young kid.
No, Max Harris is probably Rocky is his brother, and Max had a lot of health issues, and we lost him, I think, last year. And
Yeah, I remember racing races with Max Harris.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah,
a couple years ago. And so Max turned 770,206. So, and he passed away unfortunately. But that is your top 3 lap turners in all of oval iRacing. And we're fortunate to have Ray here with us tonight. He's now in the 1 million lap club. There's 2 of them, so we'll see. There's nobody really that close because Max was the next closest. You guys are truly in a club of your own, a bit in a league of your own there when it comes to the amount of laps you've turned and time you've spent in iRacing.
I don't even want to know about that.
Huh?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to know how many hours I've been on my butt sitting here.
Yeah,
pushing.
really. Gotta have a comfortable chair. I was talking about getting the new sim racing chair. You need to get a comfortable. And I saw the look on your face, and you were doing the whole thumbs down thing.
Yeah,
I was
heck.
talking about sim racing chairs that are branded as sim racing chairs.
You were talking about seats. I built my race rig when I first started. If anybody, I think Robert remembers TFW. And if you
I had
ever
one. I had one.
and
I still do.
Robert could tell you they look like a piece of board with a spring on it, and they were the best wheels out there. Am I right or wrong, Robert?
Yeah, no, I think it cost me $1,000 back then. The one I had, no force feedback.
No force fit.
Hey, I had one of the old Microsoft Sidewinder wheels way back in the day, but I had the version.
Had one of those too.
Didn't have force feedback in it. Yeah, had the center spring is all it had. But anyway, so Ray, you're in the Million Lap Club, and so what I want to do in this section of the podcast is not, there's only two people in all of iRacing can say that, and you've been on since the very first year, founding member. So we're just wanting to I want to hear. Tracy kind of went through your story of how you got to where you are today. So I kind of want to hear where you're at today, who you're working with and that kind of stuff. And we'll talk about that. And then we also want to then transition later into some advice you can give people. All those laps of wisdom. What kind of advice can you give people who are watching the podcast to help them out? Because really, that's what we're here to do. We do these podcasts, we do our videos, like everything we do. We're just trying to give back and help the community. So let's start then with where you're at now. Who you're with now, what you're doing now in iRacing.
All right. I'm actually part of a race team. It was created by Eric McClure and Dale Yonts. It's DYM Motorsports. It was actually going to be a real team in real life, but it ended up with Eric passing. It went to completely at a standstill. And Dale and me decided to keep it wide open as just me and him on the team. And I made a promise to Dale, his family, everybody, and plus Jerry and Sue. I made a promise that I was going to keep Eric's legacy alive and honoring Eric as a driver. And that's why I drive on iRacing now, is because of Eric. I would always say to myself, what would Eric mean to what would Eric do? And I always try to keep myself with a little bit more pride because of it. But overall, with Buster's Corners helping them out with setups, helping, trying to give as much information to Bob, Tom, whoever's there, Martin, a lot of the guys that have been there. And I think I've been there with them for, probably 3-4, probably 5, almost 4 or 5 months now. And it kind of reminds me of back in the days when I was with Eric and Dale, and we used to get on every night. We don't, Buster's Corner, there's not a lot of guys talking, but most people can find me there to give out the information, help them out as much as I can.
So Ray, in case people missed our episode where we had Bob Hogue on talking about Buster's Corner, why don't you just tell people what Buster's Corner is, what series you guys focus on, or what car, what series, and how they can find you guys if they're looking to get help in that particular car or series that you guys focus on.
We basically do the A car, the next gen car. Basically use, they're basic on Discord, Facebook. You can look them up on Facebook. Then they have the Discord channel. You can look up on Buster's Corners on Discord. A lot of the guys will actually, and most of the guys are on there. They chat, but I actually is there as a crew chief, helping out, giving them information. They got a lot of information. Rick gets on there. A lot of people try to help the community because they share, baseline setups. The group of guys just build a set and we'll throw something out there where the public can have it for free and don't have to be worried about getting charged for it. But there's nothing wrong with, anybody buying a set. But the biggest thing is you got a lot of good group of guys there. There's a lot of communication.
All right, guys, and I just told you the name of their group and told you to search for it on Facebook. And I also in the chat down below, I put a link directly to their Discord there in the chat below. So if you guys are interested in checking them out, if you're focusing on the A car, you want to race it some, and you want to go get some knowledge about the car, some help with setups, help with driving, that kind of stuff. They're great over there at Buster's Corner. I pop in and out every once in a great while. And if I went to racing the A car, maybe I think we would probably start there, trying to get some help. We mostly focus on the B car here. And then Tracy, I know, dabbles in a little bit of truck stuff and setups too. We just haven't really broke into the A car yet. So if I was going to do some next gen stuff, I would definitely check out Buster's Corner, and the link to their Discord is there in the description below for you guys, or not in the description, but I'll put it in the description as well. But it's down there in the live chat. I just throw it in there right now. So awesome. So you're at Buster's Corner, and so let's talk about, a million laps, all these years in iRacing. You were a founding member. You joined in the first month or so, whenever you joined, in your iRating number there is in, I think you said the 30,000, something like that, or 15,000s is in the 15,000s. And so, man, you've been on there so long, met all these great people, had all these cool experiences. So now you've got guys, there was a lot of us, including me, who popped in during COVID. I joined there in the first. Tracy calls me a COVID baby, but I was the first.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's what
Hey,
Tracy
do you wear? Do you wear the diaper?
No. But
No, we gave him a pacifier.
yeah, there you go. But I popped in. I was the first wave. I popped in early. COVID happened and they started locking stuff down 15th. Or not 15th, middle of February, I think it was at March. It was maybe beginning of March. They started locking stuff in. And I joined the 29th of April of 2020. So I was in the first wave of what Tracy calls the COVID babies. So
Things went downhill after that for a long time.
Yeah.
I think I joined the same time, didn't I?
But iRacing
Prove my point.
iRacing experienced a big boom. Ray, a big, big.
We was the start of the boom.
Yeah, but a big, huge influx of members, and you got all these guys in the last 2.5, 3 years. I'd say iRacing has increased by at least 25-30% increase in membership in the last couple of years. And so all these new guys have flooded in over the last couple of years, and they're out there searching for knowledge, how to get better, guidance, help. And so with all of your years of experience and all these laps turns and all these races you've been in iRacing, what is some advice that you have, the things that you think in general? Maybe it's an attitude, maybe it's, a lot of people are looking for a great setup, but really I'm looking for more guidance in my racing and how to get better and how to enjoy iRacing. So what do you have to give to and to say to those who are watching that are part of the new crew that's come in the last couple of years?
What I would actually say is don't look at iRating, don't look at the number on the door. Stay focused on who you're racing. Being more patient starting out. If you jumped up too fast into the A car or the B car or the trucks, step down a little bit.
Hey, I was part of that crew too. I made it from rookie to A Open in 10 days and knew nothing, right? And knew absolutely nothing. I didn't even know what a lucky dog was.
You knew how to charge into people and dive it into the bottom.
I stopped watching NASCAR in the early 2000s, maybe mid 2000s. So yeah, I didn't know what a lucky dog was, none of that stuff. And I'm like, what's this lucky dog thing? What's going? So yeah, but yet I was able to go from rookie to A license in 10 days. So yeah, I'm totally.
It took me 5 years, 5 months to go from the bottom of the barrel to the gradually bump up. It took me 5 months. Here it took you a short period of time in getting it. But the biggest thing for us to tell the community to be patient, practice. Don't go and grab a setup. And I'm gonna be honest with you. It don't matter if it's a Buster's Corner, VRS, Royco, or Mike Conte's or whoever's setup. In the A car, if you're not turning 20 laps without touching the set, this is the best thing to tell anybody. If you're running 20 sets consistently, run 20 laps, turn around, run another 20 laps. Look at your lap times. If you're still not close enough that you compare your lap times together, turn around, run another 20, then run another 20. See if you are actually in the stand analyzer, from Rick's, would actually show you exactly how your tire pressures are, what, where, the telling you what the car is actually doing. If you're going in there too hard, too fast, that's going to tell you what you're doing wrong. And I always tell people, and Tracy can agree with me on this. I've always told Tracy, repetition, hit your marks, back your corners up, doing certain things to the car, especially with this new gen, this next gen car. A lot of guys are throwing it in there and seeing if they can slide like they're sliding like rust stain, seeing if it could bounce off the wall, and the one thing about it, it's learning the knowledge of the car that you're driving. Take the fixed setup, go to a Skippy. If you want to learn how to hit a corner, I recommend going into the road course side. Learn how to hit the corners, how to approach a corner, how to hit the apexes, how to do different things with the road course car. Then jump in a dirt car. Learn how to slide a car. You slide a car, you're going to be faster on the. That's why you see a Larson. That's why you see Tony Stewart. You're seeing a lot of drivers that came from the dirt side in real life come to NASCAR and run that way, because they know how to feel a car better than a person that's only been on asphalt. So you could take that experience that you got from the road course car to the oval car, the road course car, and compare in the dirt car, compare them together. Then you can learn how to run a looser setup. There's a lot of things that you can learn from different people by watching people that are fast, giving advice to, asking. Maybe if you be more respectful to some people, they'll show their knowledge towards you. And like David Cater did. David knew that I had that little problem with the talking, getting peed off at people. But that's part of my real life experience in racing. But overall, even Tracy could tell you the overall experience of learning different tracks, finding the marks on the wall, the inside walls, especially Martinsville, braking points, the brake, especially with any of the cars, the braking is the best thing, is making sure the brakes have got balance, where you ain't got too much front brake, where you're skidding the front tires, you're putting more back brake, making it more balanced. Like some of the videos, if anybody's on iRacing, go and take them school classes that iRacing's got in videos and look at it and watch them. Because what it does, it actually teaches you how to balance a car, especially with this new car. I believe with the next gen car, it's basically, you don't want to put too much front or too much back, because sometimes it'll chatter, or the rear, if you put too much rear brake, you're going to turn the car too quick, and you don't want a lot rolling to that car. It's not like the Gen 6 car where you can make it roll too much, because this car is really unique. It's different. But overall, the best advice I can tell people is don't go into a race without even practicing turning laps. I believe in doing repetition stuff, practice. It don't matter how fast you're in the practice room. And Bob will even agree with this. Robert will even agree with this, or anybody, that you don't go into a practice and look at the first thing you look at is how fast is somebody on the board. Don't worry about that. That's the biggest thing, is don't look at the practice part.
Scotty, did he just mention your name?
Yeah, sounds awful.
Robert
like
tells
Scotty
me that
Ray,
every time. Every time we go into practice, Robert says, "Scotty, that don't matter. That don't matter."
Yeah, Scotty always looks and says, "Well," he goes, "I'm third on the board," and I'm like, or I'm second on the board, or man, I'm top the board, or I'm like, okay.
How many cars are in the room?
Well, I only stay there for a little bit, and then a bunch of guys pile in, and I become 8th or 9th on the board, and I'll be telling Robert, Oh, Robert, now I'm 8th on the board. Now I'm 9th on the
But
board.
that's
You
all.
guys
But
can know
that's
what qualifying says.
That's all he talks about. That's what he's consumed with. So then I started saying, Scotty, I don't care. What are you 20 laps in? You know, like what are we doing 20 laps in? And then so then I got him hooked on Stent Analyzer. So now first thing he looks at. So now
I'm
Ray,
turning a lot of laps.
yeah, first thing he looks at now is who's topped the board. So that's the first thing Scotty looks at.
But
Then
I like the advice that Ray gave there on running a 20 lap stint and then run another 20 lap stint.
Yeah.
Don't change anything in your setup. I like that.
well, yeah, you like to also Scotty, you also click around a bunch on your setup, changes it a lot. too.
Well,
So
Keep your hands off of it.
It's like Ray came here tonight to talk directly to
only when
Scotty.
I'm working on it. Once I have it tuned where I like it, that's when I'm going to do the 20-20-20.
Well, so here's the rest of that. It's really funny. So I got Scotty turned on the Stent Analyzer. And I said, "There's Scotty. We want to see what we're doing."
And
20 laps."
Motec.
So now Scotty will run, and he'll now start telling me all the I'm 4th on the board or 3rd on the board. Then he'll say, and I'm also I have the second fastest 5 lap and 15 lap average, and and so it's still important to him. But at least now I got Scotty looking at the 15 and the 20 lap average, and and Scotty, I really think that's helped you out a bunch. You know, is starting to look further down the road that 15, 20 lap average versus who's highest on the board.
Yes, definitely so.
Well, seeing the one thing about it too, a lot of guys, the biggest problem with a lot of guys in racing is they'll go into the race and they'll look the first thing, and I wish iRacing would actually let you pick 4 numbers. And I've told this to Tracy for years, Robert too.
I think we should have our own card number. That way we don't know.
That's what I was talking about. And I wish they would do that, because one, you wouldn't ever have the issues of, looking at a card number by iRating.
You can't do that anymore. These guys got so many alt accounts. They might be a car 20, but really they're 6,000.
And the other reason I hate custom.
That happens a lot.
Is because it creates confusion on the track. And second of all, try broadcasting a race where everybody's got a custom number. We do the races.
Oh yeah, you don't know
trying
whose
to find
car it is
anybody.
because you can't tell.
I think iRacing should do one of two things. Like you said, pick 4 or 5 numbers, and it gives you one of them, whatever's available when you register according to your preference. Or 2, if you upload a custom paint and trading paint, they should force you to also upload a non-custom paint version. So if you go into if somebody goes into iRacing and checks and unchecks the box that for hiding the iRacing number, that you could also go in and say hide it, and you still get their custom paint. You could get I think they should make you upload both versions. So
back in Papyrus days, okay, everybody had their own number, okay, but when you went in a race, if someone had entered before you and had your number was automatically changed to a different number. So so they should be able to do that without changing your custom paint job, Mikey. But just go ahead and if someone has your number in there before you do, well, you just lost your number. Now you're this number, and everybody sees you as that number.
Right. And I do agree with Michael about that. I do really agree with Michael on that, because Mike, I do agree, because one, you actually have the choice, like you said. You can pick 4 numbers, and like you said, whoever logs in first in the room gets the number.
Right. That's how Papyrus did it. You guys, you raced Papyrus, right? Or maybe not.
Yeah, right. Ray, I agree with you, but then you still have the problem with them allowing the custom number paint jobs and trading paints, which causes massive confusion on the track. You look up and see somebody's number, you say, "Man, come on, 8, what'd you just do?" And the guy goes, "What are you talking about? I didn't touch you. I'm clear on the other side of the track." Well, like, the car said 8 on it, right? Like I hate that confusion of custom numbers. I wish they did not allow custom numbers in custom paint jobs. Yes, custom numbers, no.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like that with the trading paints.
Okay, like on practice. Okay, you got your paint job. Okay, and if you walked in, I don't have a custom number. I think that you could just do away with that altogether. But anyway, if you have a certain number you have, and then in practice, and someone came in the practice room before you, or that you got your number taken away, but it didn't change anything. That they can do it in practice. They can do it in the race.
Well, So anyway, but the reason this subject came up, Ray, is because you're talking about trying to do away with people looking at the number on the car to see how low it is, to kind of either judge how good somebody is, or sometimes people will let people buy that has low numbers, but then somebody with a higher number gets to them and they won't let them buy because they show different respect on the track depending on what your number is on your car. And I think that's what you were getting to. We kind of got sidetracked there
Correct.
with that conversation.
Correct. Because it's happened to me. I hear people all the time when they talk about my rating being so low. And you know, I've been dealing with computer issues. I had a processor basically went bad on me, and I lost 600 part of like 600 I rating in less than 2 weeks. Lost that much, and I was above 2,000.
Dude, I've lost like 1,000 in a matter of a couple of weeks.
The one thing about it, you're talking about that. I actually complain. My wife will even tell you, if I lose one, like 50 I rating or anything, I'm kind of like moody. I have like a hissy fit to myself because I carry myself with a little bit more pride, and I go, man, I just screwed up. I was sitting there going, I don't need to do that. But the one thing about it, it's like with me, if I go to a different car, like I went back a couple of weeks ago, last week I went back to the Silver Crown car. That was like, holy crap, this is different, But the biggest thing overall was going to I tell people Silver Crown car is the best thing to go with the way the way the numbers. I do agree with you. It should have it where on trading paint, it should have two paints, like you said, the say that you're racing a race league. I can see using the custom number that you put on the car yourself. But then if you're running a race league, a regular A Open or B Open or whatever series, it should be 4 numbers of your choice. And it should be where it's not telling people's I rating, and they would have to download a program to actually know what person's I rating is. But it should not, like you said, it should not be judged like that, because there's been over the time I've been here, I have made complaints about that because it does affect even with me because of the I rating and looking at it carries over.
So here's kind of my thought on it. So you talked about like just having fun, enjoying it. You shouldn't worry about your I rating to be able to enjoy it. I agree with that. I racing doesn't mean anything to your enjoyment. The only time I rating becomes an issue is if you're doing something above just trying to have fun and enjoy I racing. And it only comes into play when you're talking about the splits you can get into. So if you're like Cody Trelindi out there and you're trying to win Division I and be open and be the Be Open King of the Year, and in which I'm laughing, but hey, it's an accomplishment to win a series, right? And so that was his goal. And so therefore, 2 things. One, in order to be in Division I, you have to have at least 3,500 I rating on the first race you enter when the season starts. So there is an I rating requirement component just to be in Division I.
Correct.
Yeah. And then 2, you got to have at least a certain I rating to be able to make the top split on during the strength of field races and stuff in order to be able to get the opportunity to win the most championship points. And so other than that, though, or like in Road to Pro, same thing. You got to have a high I rating to make the high splits in order to earn enough championship points to do well in the series. And so, but that's a serious thing. I mean, now we're going beyond being a hobby and having fun to serious level competition, right? And so, there's been some strength of field races on Monday nights for B Open now, not A, B, where it's taken a 5,000 I rating minimum to get into the top split on Monday night, 8 p.m. race. We've seen like 2 of those this year where it took a 5,000 minimum to get in. And then the other issue is, and I think this is where the whole passing thing comes in and respect on the track. I don't think it's necessarily the I rating, but people will see, and I'm guilty of this a bit. If I'm the 5 car in a split and like the 20 car comes zooming by wanting to pass me, I don't block or I don't hold them up, but I'm not just saying, here you go, brother, going by. But because I know they're probably going to burn their tires up. Has nothing to do with me being better than them or looking at the I rating. It just gives me a judgment that, hey, I'm going to let this guy pass me. And in 20 laps, they're going to burn the tire, maybe shorter, maybe 15 laps. They're going to burn up the tires and fall back. Now, are they going to make it difficult on me to get around them after they've spent their tires? They're going to make me burn my tires back around them. And if I know the person enough, and the answer to that question is yes, they're going to make me burn my tires up to get back around them. I'm not going to just give it to them and let them around. It's not necessarily an idea of, oh, they're a low I rating, so I'm not going to respect them. It's no, I've been around that person and I know that and the I rating, sometimes the number of the car gives you that, it gives you a little more insight to say, is it likely this person is going to burn them up quick and I might have to fight to get back around them. So there is a little bit of thought into that. That's more than just, oh, that guy is a high number, so I'm not going to give him something, not respect him, and that person's a low number, so yeah, go right by. I mean, there's a little more into that thought process than that. But I agree with you. There are some people that definitely discriminate against how they treat drivers based on the number. And I'm like you, if that would get taken away, it might make for maybe some cleaner racing on the track, right?
Yeah. And the one thing about it, you learn, like you said, if you race with the same people over and over and over, you get to know their driving style, the way they drive and all that. And everybody goes, oh, your I rating's low. Well, that's where all the newbies are at. That's where all the guys are coming up and they're trying to learn this A car. And they got to have somebody, like a Monte. They don't get the chance to like Monte, Ray Alfala, somebody really high up there to race with them. It's not very often you get to race with them. But if you get somebody that's got the driving style where they carry themselves a little bit more better, you can learn how to race the other competitors, why you get the stepping ladder when you get your I rating up and start getting it up and up and up. You understand that especially when you come up, the way I look at it, if you can start from the trucks all the way up and you learn each truck and you run how to run the truck the proper way, how to, do the hitting your marks, doing little things, and then gradually go up, you'll learn how to do things with the A car, the B car, the trucks. And I find it easier going from the A car down, building setups all the way down to SKs, the Tour modifieds. It's easier for me because I was taught with David, Rick, Rusty Greer and all them. But the one thing about it, it's just the idea. Most of these guys are, fast tracking. They're worried about going pro. And I wish iRacing would actually show what it qualifies you to the road to pro. And if I remember, I think Robert can tell me if I'm right. The biggest thing that I found back in the days, they used to do the NIS to the road to pro. They used to do that. And I wish they would do that, to go back to that way, because then you have to commit yourself for the whole entire year
to the NIS. Yeah.
To the NIS. And it should be only A drivers eligible.
Right.
No B, no C's, just straight out A drivers.
And the other thing is iRacing, I think they did release, but the number of people that sign up to run Road to Pro. And here's the thing, unless you have at least a 5,500 to 6,000 I rating, you stand no chance at Road to Pro because you don't have a high enough I rating in order to make the splits that's going to earn you enough championship points. And so the amount of people that enter Road to Pro that think they got a shot, but they're never in a high enough split where they're ever going to earn the championship points is required to make it through. But some people just do it for the experience. I did it the first year just for the experience, and I was in a low split and it didn't really matter. But that's the kind of stuff people, they need to hear when they're first starting out and get perspective, on what's going with the iRacing. But Ray, I tell you what, we're coming up to the top of the hour.
Wait a minute. I got a question for you right now.
Okay, go ahead, Robert.
Okay, Ray, what do you think about iRacing having a limit of how much iRacing you can have to be in an open series? Like 2,000, 1,500 or whatever, to be in a certain series.
What do you mean, lap wise?
Yeah,
iRacing wise.
He's talking about a combination of I rating plus safety rating to be able to get you into an open race, is what he's saying. Is a instead of just simply safety rating alone, having some kind of some kind of requirement for speed as far as I rating goes.
Yeah, it should be. Well, the way I look at it is the I rating. Starting now, I can see 1,500 and above, but with the safety rating also being involved, because then you have because say that we know some guys that have ridiculous amount of I rating and they're good, but then you go and look at their safety rating, they're so bad that they should not be up in that car. They should not be they should not, they should be both. I agree with you, Robert, on that, because it actually, both cars should be, you should have your I rating and your safety rating involved. Because if you're got more more wrecks, or you're always in a wreck, you're all like 18 incidents and you got 4 races, you should not honestly be in that series.
Well, Ray, they also kind of go hand in hand, because if your safety rating's low and you wreck a bunch, then your I rating is going to take a hit too. So I mean, they kind of go hand in hand to a point. I guess you could always ride around the back and be safe, and then it doesn't really matter. But guys, that's top of the hour. We're going to close this down because Tracy's got to go. He's got to start his new job in the morning, and we try not to go above 2 hours. Ray's been an awesome guest tonight. And he's really give us an insight into all of his years of experience and how he got started, some of his real life racing career. And Ray, man, so glad that you came and spent the last couple hours with us and our audience here on the Area 51 Alien Factory podcast. Ray, thank you so much, man.
Hell, you're welcome, guys. If you guys ever want to reach out to me again, I'll be more than glad to come on. And if somebody wants to talk about setups and all that, and ask questions. I'm not the wizard of all setups. I'm just, somebody that's been around real race cars and all that. But I always tell people to go to somebody like a Ray Alfalla, Mike Conte, people that has been on the sim for a long, especially the guys that's been on here, like Robert has been on here for a while. There's a lot of guys that's been going, listen to what people actually say. Go and ask the veterans of the sim world and say, hey, I got a question. Can you answer this question? If we can't answer the question, we'll point you to, all the setup builder guys will, tell you to go to VRS or somebody, and they can probably answer the question better in certain cars.
Oh.
Sure. And, sure, yeah, absolutely. And VRS is a good place to start. They got a cool telemetry tools there and stuff for you guys. So go check out them out. It's only $9.99 a month subscription. Definitely worth the money. Trace, man, appreciate you as well being here for this podcast and sticking through to the end. You got that promotion. Your work day now starts. You clock in at 6 a.m. Eastern, and it is now midnight Eastern. So you are a trooper, my friend. Thank you so much for sticking it out.
Yeah, I got to get up at 4:45. Ray, I can't hang around, bud, but I appreciate your time. We'll get hooked up and debrief, okay?
All right.
All right, I'm out
if-
of here, guys.
You do.
And if you want to hear more from Ray, just find him on the track, because he'll talk forever.
There you go. There you go. All right, guys, that is it for episode 24 of the Alien Factory podcast here. Our special guest tonight was Ray Barcomb. He hit his 1,000,000 laps in iRacing. They're part of the 2-man club there in the 1,000,000 laps turn club. Guys, for myself and everybody here at Area 51, we appreciate you guys coming in each and every week and viewing these great podcasts. We had the Admiral Tracy Rumschlag with us tonight, the #1 team driver, Robert Cook, along with Scooter Scotty Stevens, and myself, Mike Howerton, Mr. Excitement, here at Area 51. If you have not done so yet, we ask you hit that subscribe button and become a subscriber. It helps our channel grow. It helps us at our goal of becoming a YouTube partner. We need to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. So all of your subscriptions are greatly appreciated. The bell icon, click that. It gets you notified anytime that we go live with new content here on the channel, and all the great on-demand videos. We upload those as well. And then the thumbs up button, give that a big old smack on the like button for the thumbs up if you like this podcast.
Smack it hard.
Coming in. And down in the video description down below, always check that out. All kind of goodies down there for you. We got some places to get some great free setups. We have an affiliate link to Major's Garage. We have a 10% off promo code to Maconi Setup Shop. All kind of cool stuff down in the description. And yeah, we appreciate all y'all being here for this one. And guys, as always, we will see you in
And
the next
the
one.
next one.